A pleasant morning to you all. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. With this quote for the day, we welcome you all to the yet another episode of Civils Media's Daily Current Affairs Analysis for the day of 19th November, brought to you by ShankarIASAcademy. And we also kindly request you to subscribe to the ShankarIASAcademy YouTube channel and click the bell icon for receiving on-time notification. And a small reminder from ShankarIASAcademy that the pre-storming UPSC Prelims Test Series Batch 3 is about to start from today. It's high time to register yourself for this exam to clear the UPSC Prelims of 2026. You can register for this test series using the QR code given in this video, or you can register yourself through the registration link that is available in our website. And here are the list of topics taken for today's discussion. And the first topic is about the Marburg virus, which got recently outbroke in the Ethiopian region. And the second topic is about the Corbett Tiger Reserve, which was recently under the judgment of Supreme Court to restore the ecology of the zone. And the third topic is about the Sentinel-6B, which is a recently launched satellite. And the fourth topic is about the forest loss and the tribal housing schemes which are overlapping and in tussle. And the fifth topic is about the Prelims Focus, where we discuss about the important current affairs which are very relevant for our UPSC Prelims. Recently, a deadly viral disease got outbreak in the Ethiopian region known as the Marburg Virus disease. With this news article from The Hindu, we will be discussing in detail about the disease from the UPSC point of view. And what are the key facts from this news? That the Ethiopia's southern region got the confirmation of outbreak related to this Marburg virus disease on 14th November 2025, and around 129 contacts has been isolated who are in close contact with the infected person and kept under constant monitoring. And this deadly disease is highly contagious, which can be spread easily from person to person in a faster manner and can cause viral hemorrhagic fever. And this disease can be transmitted through the physical contacts on the exchange of bodily fluids or handling infected wild animals such as fruit bats or monkeys. And about this Marburg virus, it comes from the family Filariavidae, which is same to the family of Ebola virus. So clinically, the Marburg virus as well as the Ebola virus are similar in nature, and this disease can be also called as Marburg hemorrhagic fever or green monkey disease. So the natural reservoir of this disease will be Rosetus aegyptiacus, which is Egyptian fruit bat. It is not monkey, it is the Egyptian fruit bat. So we need to be very clear about that. And the fatality rate of this Marburg virus disease can reach up to 80 to 90% in the past African outbreak. Some of the notable and the very fatal outbreak which got happened at the Angola region. On that region, that the outbreak on the of this Marburg virus disease will lead to the fatality rate around 90%, and the incubation period of this virus will be around 2 to 21 days. And what are the symptoms associated with this disease? It can cause sudden high fever and causes severe headache and muscle pain, and it will be related to the vomiting sensation and the vomiting as well as diarrhea. And it will be very notable one that the severe hemorrhage is associated with this disease, which can lead to the oozing out of blood from the vital human organs such as bleeding gums, eyes and stools, etc. And this disease is also known as bleeding virus or eye bleeding disease or eye bleeding virus. And the treatment related to this Marburg virus disease, there is no specific antiviral treatment. So there will be no vaccine related to this disease, and only supportive care will only preventive measure as well as the containing measure with related to the treatment of this disease. And we can prevent this disease by avoiding contact with infected persons, and the personal protective equipments will be necessary for the health workers who are handling the patients who got infected by this disease. And the safe burial practice will also be a necessary step to contain this disease from further spreading. And about the region Ethiopia, the capital is Addis Ababa, and it will be located on the Horn of Africa. So it will be very important for our UPSC Prelims, and it is a landlocked country. So it will also be very important fact related to the UPSC Prelims, and it is bordered by Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, Kenya, South Sudan and Sudan. So these are all the notable boundaries or the border nations with related to Ethiopia, and other significant factors related to the Ethiopia are its headquarters, the African Union, which is also very important, and it will be a frequent zone of zoonotic disease surveillance, such as Nipah, Ebola like viruses, and Rift Valley fever. And here we can see the map of Ethiopia. Here the capital Addis Ababa and the bordering nations such as Eritrea, Sudan, South Sudan, Kenya, Somalia, and Djibouti. And Uganda is not a border nation to the Ethiopia, so we need to be very clear of that. And there will be no sea border or the sea coast or the coastal region for Ethiopia, as it is a landlocked country. So it will be very important for our UPSC prelims. And there will be a previous year question which was asked in the year of 2019 UPSC prelims, and the question is, which one of the following statement is not correct? Option A, hepatitis B virus is transmitted much like HIV. Option B, hepatitis B, unlike hepatitis C, does not have a vaccine. Option C, globally the number of people infected with hepatitis B and C viruses are several times more than those infected with HIV. Option D, some of those infected with hepatitis B and C viruses do not show the symptoms for many years. So this will be relevant UPSC question related to the disease as well as vaccine. So UPSC is asking more number of questions related to the disease and the vaccines associated with it. So we need to be very clear of that. So this question was taken on that basis, and this question answer will be option B. Hepatitis B, unlike hepatitis C, does not have a vaccine. This is an incorrect statement because hepatitis B has vaccine. Yes. With this, we move to the next topic. In a recent judgment, Supreme Court has issued directives to the Uttarakhand government to restore the Corbett Tiger Reserve and to maintain its ecology to preserve the natural habitat of the zone. So with this news article from The Hindu, we will be discussing in detail about the directives which has been issued by the Supreme Court as well as about the Corbett Tiger Reserve. And what are the key highlights of this news? That the Supreme Court orders the Uttarakhand government to restore and repair the Corbett Tiger Reserve and to maintain the ecology and to submit a restoration plan within a period of 2 months, and the demolition of the illegal constructions will need to be taken within the period of 3 months, and to file a compliance affidavit within a year. So this was based on the petition concerned the illegal tree felling and the construction activities inside the Corbett Tiger Reserve. And what are the Supreme Court's major directives that has been issued under recently? Based on the human wildlife conflict, the state must consider notifying the human wildlife conflict as a natural disaster. So the Supreme Court issued directives regarding the human wildlife conflict and has insisted upon the notifying the human wildlife conflict as natural disaster, and mandated rupees 10 lakh to be paid as an ex gratia compensation for the deaths under the umbrella scheme of integrated development of wildlife habitat. And to maintain the regarding the tiger reserves as well as the eco-sensitive zones, the state has to notify core and buffer areas of tiger reserves within the 6 months. So the Supreme Court also notifies insisted the government to notify the core as well as the buffer areas of the tiger reserve within a period of 6 months, and to prepare a tiger conservation plan, dedicated plan within the 3 months for that state, and also has to notify the eco-sensitive zones around the tiger reserves, including the buffer zone as well as the fringe areas within a period of 1 year. And the restriction over the tourism as well as safaris which has been conducted over this tiger reserve has to be prohibited, that the tiger safaris in the core areas and the critical tiger habitats has to be prohibited. So this will be the primary directives that is more important with related to the maintaining the ecology of this tiger reserve. And this critical tiger habitat is very important for our UPSC prelims. So we need to be very clear of that. And what are the things that needs to be allowed inside the tiger reserves are only on non-forest land as well as the degraded land uh, in the buffer zones, and only if the area is not a part of tiger corridors. So the tourism activities as well as the safaris are only allowed on the non-forest land or the degraded forest land in the buffer zones, not on the core area or the critical tiger habitat, and only the area in which is not a part of tiger corridor will has to be allowed with regarding the tourism activities. And what are the conditions associated with the management and regulation of tourism activities as well as the tiger safaris? The safaris facilities will also has to be tied with the proper rescue and rehabilitation center. So the safaris has to be maintained a close association with the rescue and rehabilitation center. And with regarding the integrated development of wildlife and habitat, which is a centrally sponsored scheme under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And what are the components involved in this scheme is which supports the protected areas, eco-sensitive zones as well as wildlife corridors. And the primary objective of this integrated development of wildlife habitat is to improve the habitat of that region as well as to mitigate the conflict aroused over the region with respect to the human animal conflict or the or any other conflicts arrive at that zone, and also has the involvement of community to conserve the area. And the fund also needs to support the project tiger as well as project elephant. So this integrated development of wildlife habitat will also support through funding through the projects such as project tiger or project elephant. And with respect to the Corbett Tiger Reserve, it has been established in the year of 1936 as Haley National Park, which is India's oldest national park, which has been later named as Jim Corbett National Park, and later it got transformed into Ramganga National Park. So presently we call it as Ramganga National Park, and earlier it got the name of Jim Corbett National Park, under which the Jim Corbett Tiger Reserve is prevailing, and the location will be Uttarakhand in the Shivalik and Himalayan foothills. And what are the key highlights of this Jim Corbett Tiger Reserve, which has the highest tiger density? Sorry, it is the second highest tiger density with respect to the tiger population. With the first place will be the Bandipur Tiger Reserve of Karnataka, which has the highest tiger density with related to the 2025 data, and this Corbett Tiger Reserve has the second highest tiger density with related to the tiger population, and the third place will be the Kaziranga Tiger Reserve of Assam. And it also has the rich faunal and floral species such as the rich elephant and bird life, and it also has the key corridors like Corbett Ramnagar and Corbett Rajaji, and the Ramganga Reservoir will be a part of this Ramganga National Park. And also the Ramganga river flows through this national park. So we need to be very clear of that with related to the UPSC prelims. And what is the fact related to the National Tiger Conservation Authority, which is a statutory body established under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, which got later amended in the year of 2006. And the primary function of this National Tiger Conservation Authority is to approve the tiger conservation plans, which got the dedicated plans established by the each state, and also has to monitor the tiger reserves which got already established in the Indian territory, and issues guidelines regarding the tourism activities, safaris that has to be conducted in that zone, and also maintain the eco-sensitive zone of the tiger reserves and the proper management of these zones. And it also has to conduct all India tiger estimation, which is the population census related to the tiger population every 4 years. And there is an UPSC previous year question related to this critical tiger habitat. from the year of 2020, and the question is, among the following tiger reserves, which one has the largest area under critical tiger habitat? So this critical tiger habitat is also the core area of the tiger reserves. So we need to be very clear of that. So please note that. So what is the largest area? Which one has the largest area under critical tiger habitat? Option A, Corbett Tiger Reserve. Option B, Ranthambore. Option C, Nagarjuna Sri Salem Tiger Reserve, or the option D, Sundarbans. So the answer will be option C. Yes. With this, we move to the next topic. This news article from the Indian Express elicits about the newly launched satellite to observe the oceanic region known as the Sentinel-6B. So with this news article, we will get to know more about this Sentinel-6B satellite in detail. And what is the context behind this news? That the sea level are rising faster than ever, and the world has just launched a satellite to measure every single millimeter of it. So it will be a very great accomplishment for the satellite to get launched and the organization which are backing it. And the Sentinel-6B is a part of Copernicus program, which will be conducted by the European Union, and it is also the world's largest Earth observation program. So this Copernicus program will be the world's largest Earth observation program and the successor to the Jason series, under which the 6th Sentinel satellite has to be launched. And this Sentinel-6B is a satellite launched from California in November 17th of 2025, and the launch will be a joint mission from NASA and NOAA, that is National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and the European Space Agency. So we need to note that from the UPSC Prelims point of view. And what are the features associated with this newly launched satellite? It can track and trace up to the sea level, up to the level of millimeter level accuracy, and most of the satellites which got earlier launched will track and trace up to the accuracy of centimeters, and this will track and trace up to the accuracy level to the approximately 1 inch level across the globe. That is 90% of the globe has been covered to the millimeter level. So this will be very greatest advancement in the technological level, which will also be crucial for tracking glacier melts and coastal flooding. And it also has the specific feature of the involvement of dual frequency altimeter. And this dual frequency altimeter will minimizes the atmospheric interference, which will be very great to help to get the accurate data related to the prediction of storms as well as monsoon events. And the warm water mapping is also been very simple, made simple prediction through this prediction of this El Nino events. And this also helps institutions like Indian Meteorological Department to improve the forecast related to the El Nino Southern Oscillation. And what is the significance associated with the launch of this new satellite? The sea level projected to rise from 1.1 millimeter, 1 meter to 1.7 millimeter by the year of 2100. It has been released under the report of IPCC, and India's vast coastal line with the extent of around 7,500 kilometers will got severely vulnerable to this sea level rise, and the associated population with the coastal region will be also get affected. And the Sentinel-6B will help in prediction and planning related to the port, for the establishment of such ports related to the sea level rise. And the climate resilience housing coastal has been made very viable under the coastal regulation zone updates. And the insurance risk assessment is also been made very easy with the data obtained through this launch of this new satellite. And what are the concerns associated with this newly launched satellite? That the dependence on foreign satellite data. So this satellite has been launched by the joint mission of NASA, NOAA as well as European Space Agency. So there will be no say for the Indian government or the other regions which got the data from this source. So it will be more rely over the foreign satellite data. It will be dearly cost to the other nations, and the data processing requires high-end supercomputers which are lacking in several nations, and the gap in coastal infrastructure despite yearly warnings will be also a greatest concern towards the launch of this satellite. And moving to the prelims practice question with reference to the Sentinel-6B satellite, consider the following statement. First statement, the main purpose of Sentinel-6B is to measure global sea levels with high accuracy. Second statement, Sentinel-6B is part of the Copernicus program led by the European agency along with the support from the NASA. Which of the statements given above are correct? So in this question they have asked about the correct statement, and the first statement is correct because it will have the greatest accuracy to the level of 1 inch accuracy, or to the millimeter level. So the first statement was correct, and the second statement is also correct because it is a part of Copernicus program led by the European Union, and it also has the support from NASA. So the both statements are correct, and the answer will be option C, both 1 and 2. Let's check. Yes. With this we move to the next topic. Center reviewing Supreme Court ruling on forest laws and tribal housing, says Minister. With this news article from The Hindu, we will be explaining in detail about the tussle between the forest laws such as the Forest Conservation Act as well as the Forest Right Act, and also the construction of housing activities in the tribal and forest area will impede the implementation of various welfare schemes such as PM Janman and DAJGUA. And we also has to note about the Supreme Court ruling with regarding this issue. And what is the Supreme Court ruling regarding this issue? Before getting into the ruling, we also have to have a quick note about the Forest Right Act as well as the Forest Conservation Act. And with respect to the Forest Right Act of 2006, which allows certain non-forestry activities on the forest land as well as the tribal areas because of the tribal welfare, and the Forest Conservation Act of 1980, which restricts the non-forest use of forest land without the prior approval from the authority. And the conflict has been initially aroused on the Binaga region of Madhya Pradesh, where the particularly vulnerable tribal group households with the valid individual forest right sought to build a house under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana on the forest land, where the Supreme Court has observed that the construction of Pukka house, which is a permanent house with the strong basement, is not explicitly listed as a permissible non-forestry activity under the Forest Right Act, creating a legal conflict basis. And with respect to the government response as well as the concern towards the Supreme Court ruling, the Tribal Affairs Ministry's position with respect to the Supreme Court ruling that the center is reviewing the Supreme Court order in consultation with legal and interministerial teams, and have the priority to ensure the continuity of flagship tribal schemes such as the PM Janman and the DAJGUA. This PM Janman, which is the Pradhan Mantri Janjatiya Adivasi Nyaya Maha Abhiyan, focus more over the particularly vulnerable tribal group communities and their welfare as well as upliftment, and this development of aspirational Janjatiya Grama Upakaram Abhiyan will focus more over the upliftment as well as the welfare of scheduled tribe villages. And what are the potential challenges associated with the tussling out or the sorting out of this tussle between the Forest Right Act as well as the Forest Conservation Act? Both the schemes, that is the welfare schemes associated with the welfare of the tribal groups, that is PM Janman and DAJGUA, will rely heavily on the Forest Right Act over the coverage and mapping or to identify the tribal habitations over the forest area. If the Pukka housing is restricted on the individual forest rights land, the PM Awas delivery, that is the delivery of housing to the rural people or the urban people under the PM Awas Yojana, which is the housing for all, to tribal communities may get affected or may face the implementation obstacles. And what are the key schemes involved under this tussle or the PM Janman, as we discussed earlier, which is the Pradhan Mantri Janjatiya Adivasi Nyaya Maha Abhiyan, which has been implemented between the period of 2023 to 2030, which is an exclusively mission for particularly vulnerable tribal groups in 75 districts across the India, focuses on the delivering the saturation over the housing, connectivity, water power or through the pipelines and mobile network connections, and improving the health through the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana and the livelihood through multi-ministry convergence. And with respect to the other scheme, that is DAJGUA, which is Tribal Habitation Based Saturation Initiative for the focus over the scheduled tribe villages, using the Forest Rights Act for mapping to identify the beneficiaries of the villages and support their livelihood training and conducting entrepreneurship programs, as well as value addition with related to the forest produce that they mainly survived off. And the other scheme is the PM Awas, which is the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, with related to the housing for all rural poor, and the for tribal communities Forest Right Act, which title land of individual forest right is treated as a valid land holding, which enables the pucca house construction. And what is the tussle or overlapping of this Forest Right Act and Forest Conservation Act in detail is that the Forest Right Act of 2006 recognized the individual forest right as well as the community forest right and permits some non-forestry community welfare activities such as the construction of road or the establishment of road or the construction of schools and the establishment of Anganwadis, but does not explicitly allows the housing. So under this right Forest Right Act, it will not explicitly mention to establish or construct a house over that region. And with respect to the Forest Conservation Act of 1980, which requires the central approval for any non-forest use. So for the activity related to the non-forest use, it needs to be have a central approval for construction of pucca house on the forest land. Without the prior approval will violate the Forest Conservation Act. And what is the government approach as well as the interministerial coordination that need to be taken care of, that the ministries got involved in this tussle or the Tribal Affairs Ministry and the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change and the Ministry of Rural Development and the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, or the inter-ministries or the ministries which got involved in this struggle, and the strategies which got discussed under this government approach to solve this issue is to amend the Forest Right Act with regarding the non-forestry activities list by including the establishment or the construction of pucca house, or to create a special exemption mechanism for the Forest Right Act title holders with the individual forest right under the Forest Conservation Act. And the primary aim of making this interministerial coordination to solve this tussle, to implement the welfare programs in an effective manner, protect the tribal rights and to ensure the livelihood security which got enlisted under the scheme, and to continue the scheme saturation to got the involvement of more tribal people under the scheme. And what are the way forwards that got discussed, that the policy and legal measures that need to be taken to clarify the tussle out between the Forest Right Act and the Forest Conservation Act to overlap, and to explicitly include the pucca housing as a permitted non-forestry activity into the Forest Right Act, to set up a clear approval process for the housing on forest land. And the second step will be the administrative step to create a joint effort or the joint committee between the Ministry of Personnels involving the Ministry of Tribal Affairs as well as the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, will form a committee and issue standard housing guidelines for the particularly vulnerable tribal groups, and to ensure accurate mapping, proper forest right recognition as well as the community consent. And what are the ethical and developmental imperatives which are associated with the way forward to this issue, that guarantees the tribal communities can use their right and the access welfare scheme without the risk of eviction or legal conflict. And moving to the mains practice question, the question is discuss the challenges arising from the overlap between Forest Right Act and the Forest Conservation Act of 1980 in the context of tribal housing schemes such as the PM Janman and DAJ, GUA and the PM Awas. Suggest a balanced framework to harmonize tribal development with forest conservation. This is a 15-mark question and we need to be answered within the 250 word limits. So please take this question and post your answers in the comment section given below. We will evaluate and give the feedback in the comment section itself. With this, we move to the prelims focus. And coming to the prelims focus, the first topic is about Operation Bullion Blaze, which is being conducted by the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence working under the Ministry of Finance. And the achievement made out through this Operation Bullion Blaze that the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence has uncovered an organized racket involving in the smuggling of gold into India. With this racket is melting the gold through the convert furnace and illicitly trading the refined bullion into the gold market, grey market. And the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence has effectively busted out the racket which is involving the smuggling of gold into India through the Operation Bullion Blaze. And the second topic is about Electronic Warfare Conference of Spectrum 2025, which is being conducted by the Ministry of Defense under the theme Leveraging Technology for Universal Modular Scalable Architecture for electronic warfare systems. The primary aim is to bring out the importance of open system architecture and its standardization to make electronic warfare system into an upgradable one, and along with the decreasing of cost for the production as well as the deployment, and also the decreasing the delivery time or the deployment time. And the third topic is about the International Tipiṭaka Chanting Ceremony, which is a 12-day spiritual gathering with the commemorative walk mainly conducted by the Theravada Buddhism tradition, and which also this commemorative walk also traces the Buddha's path from the Jetian Valley to Venvana of Rajgir. And the primary location is Bodh Gaya of Bihar, where the Buddha got his enlightenment, and it is being organized by various organizations such as International Buddhist Confederation along with the Ministry of Culture and the Light of Buddha Dharma Foundation International from USA. And the primary aim is to preserve and showcase India's Buddhist heritage globally. And with respect to this Tipiṭaka, which is also known as Tripitaka, this Tipiṭaka is a Pali term and Tripitaka is a Sanskrit term. And with respect to this Tipiṭaka, which is very important for our UPSC prelims, which is the sacred scriptures of Buddhism mainly followed by the Theravada Buddhism. And this is also known as three baskets of Buddhist scriptures which is being preserved and compiled under the Pali language. And this three basket involving three Pitakas such as Vinaya Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka and Abhidhamma Pitaka, which is very important fact with respect to the UPSC prelims. So kindly note that. And moving to the prelims practice question, consider the following statement regarding Operation Bullion Blaze. First statement, it was conducted by the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence under the Ministry of Finance. And the second statement, the operation exposed a gold smuggling network that refined the metal in secret furnace before selling it illegally in the grey market. Which of the statements given above are correct? So in this question, they have asked about the correct statement. And the first statement was absolutely correct because it was conducted by the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence under the Ministry of Finance. And the second statement is also correct because the modus operandi of this gold racket or this gold smuggling racket is the explicitly mentioned in the second statement. So the answer will be both 1 and 2. Yes. With this, we came to the conclusion of this episode. Hope you guys like the video. Please share your positive comments and answers in the comment section. We will evaluate the answer and give the feedback in the answer section, comment section itself. And please share the video to your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the ShankarIASAcademy YouTube channel and click the bell icon for receiving on-time notification. Thank you for watching us. Have a great day.